Well, I didn't like the gap here. I had, a gap and still another gap. And this is very central, so I needed to put weight on one side or the other. So I decided there'll be more content here. A little lower values off in this direction down here. And I would lighten this up. So I think I'm going to bring these colors of the sky. Maybe it's not sky. Maybe it's a distant hill that's just, in full fall blossom sort of thing. Those leaves are turning, but they're in the distance, so they're a soft, warm, orangish, reddish, pinkish purple. I don't know. I'll keep playing with it. But I really haven't done much. As promised, I've done almost nothing. But I'm down here tonight, and I thought I'd put a few strokes on. And I think, well, you can see this isn't finished, but I've outlined where this branch is going to come off of this branch coming forward. I think the top of this is going to disappear. There, that'll stay. Under here, this might even be the top of this, of a dead tree trunk here, branching out a little bit and then just disappearing. Okay, so first, let's grab a little bit of yellow ochre, and a little bit of white, and a little bit of, what is that stuff? Alizarin crimson. And why do I keep forgetting the names of colors? You'd think by now I would breathe the names of colors, but that's not always the case. What do we have here? Yeah, that's better. So I do like the fact that we dipped down, but we're still sort of approximating almost the same height as the outhouse. I want to bring that down. And it's okay if there isn't a lot of vivid content in your greatest distance. But as you come closer, you have to make it more interesting. And I think that part of making it more interesting will be being responsible for making less area interesting. So let's bring this in current to here, and there'll be less area to worry about here. Pretty lazy talk, eh? Yes, we'll do that. Yes, we'll do that. Try to maintain something reasonable in the way of shapes here without getting too carried away. Now, of course, this tree trunk is going to stand out and become stronger because I'm doing what I'm doing. But that tree trunk I'm now, because of this, I'll put more light on it. So that'll kind of make it pop up again. And yeah, as I mentioned before, I think this is kind of a holiday painting. I'm not. The stress of any kind of deadlines or promises that I need to fulfill is over with right now. So it's kind of enjoyable just to do more playing. And yeah, okay, let's come down with this. Right to about there. in too much? No, it's not too much. It's okay. Felt kind of guilty. I thought I better upload something because I'm imagining that a lot of you guys probably have a little more time on your hands over the weekend. Being Christmas and Boxing weekend, well, Christmas weekend, I guess. Christmas holidays for some. And you might want something to make fun of. So here it is. Look at this guy. Look at this guy trying to throw some paint on here and make something out of it. Okay, cowardice is kicking in. I don't want to go down lower. But again, as I think I said this in the last video, it's making this more prominent, you know? It's becoming more of the central point of attraction. Oh, excuse me. So I think that was a good idea to drop it. Now it's clearly below this roof line. Now, that was fun. I can barely keep myself from giggling. No, I'm not going to worry about letting light show through just yet. That, because I might still bring this bush lower. You know, it's entirely possible. I kind of have this peak lined up with the trunk, which, speaking of that, I'm not sure how fond I am of that. In fact, I know I'm not crazy about it. I don't mind if it dips a little bit. There. Just one little spot. Excuse me, where the light shines through from behind. So far. Okay, stop playing. I'm getting persnickety. I'm not going to get a whole lot done, but I did want to, you know, after being away from it for a day or so and sitting down in front of it again, I thought, yeah, I'll just do a couple of things, you know. I'm pretty confident that it improves the painting as a whole. Yes, there's much more to be done here. Well, all over the place. I like this little young evergreen that's sitting just over the hill crest. You know, it's going to be cooler, but it's going to catch a little bit of light. And it'll be nice variety, and it closes this gap. You know, we end up with more of this kind of thing going on. This doesn't have to be balanced. The whole painting has to be balanced. Reasonably. Don't forget that too much balance is not balance anymore. It just becomes... it becomes boring. Too much balance isn't the rhythm. Let's put a couple strokes of snow in here. Seeing as that's our next plane, and seeing as it's going to catch a bit of light, I'm certainly not playing with the highest values yet. Compared to here, it's a much higher value, but this is not by any means playing all my cards, so to speak. Okay, let's cool it off here for a moment. Because there is no direct sunlight on the back side of this door. This door is coming this way a little bit. So the snow that's here isn't going to be catching light until we get over to here. So it's kind of just a thin, thin sliver of, what am I using? Ultramarine blue, touch of yellow ochre, bit of white. Okay, now we'll dip into our yellow ochre again. A little more of that, because that'll warm the thing up. That'll warm the situation up. The warp and the weft of this canvas, on this particular canvas, is very strong right across the entire width of it at that level, so it's a bit of a pain. That's okay. That's keeps things looking painterly, I guess. A lot of titanium white. A lot of titanium white. A little bit of ultramarine blue. And a little bit of yellow ochre. I'm going to reserve yellow ochre and white for a little bit later in the painting, when I lay the highlights on these areas, because that's where there's going to be some real direct sunlight sitting on there. And for the moment, I don't want anything competing with the outhouse. The outhouse is not crazy strong. I mean, I know it might be the subject, the focal subject of the painting, but it's not really that strong regarding chroma and value. So it would be a bit dangerous to go too intense immediately adjacent to it. I can get a little stronger down here, but not right against it. Know what I'm saying? Okay, we'll just reach out to both sides of this right now. So we have a good reference. I'm not going to run off the painting just yet. A bit of a hair there, or a bristle rather. Okay, a little more yellow ochre, more titanium white. Getting stronger, getting higher values. Maybe a little too high in values. The same. You know, I'm making my snow quite green here, a warm green, because I'm using ultramarine blue and yellow ochre and white. I'm using that especially here because we're against a warm brown and reddish look, right? So trying to keep my complementary colors adjacent to each other, that helps in the idea of keeping things popping a little bit. I mean, yeah, one word is keeping them popping. You know, a more realistic word is really just keeping things alive. Keeping the interest going. Okay, that's pretty much the crest of the hill with its, not its final highlights, but close to. It's really irritating that the weave is not lining up very nicely. It's crossing the strokes I want to make. So what I have to do is not lay paint on with my brush perpendicular to the canvas. I need to lay it over, go a little thicker with my paint, and lay it on almost parallel to the canvas in order to minimize the defect in the canvas showing. But this is a strong one. Ooh. The defect is strong with this one. It's not something that's too easy to pick up unless you really, not too easy to see when you're buying it unless you really scrutinize each canvas, and even then you don't always see it so well. So that's kind of my bad. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. And you know how much I like to complain, right? Okay, probably blowing that out of proportion a little bit, but okay, now finally, after all my flitting about the canvas and indecision, at least now we have our subject, our main, you know, our feature show, our main attraction anchored on something. It's a start. Not sure what I'm going to do down here yet. Not going to worry about it. Again, this is just something I'm going to keep pecking away at over the holidays. I do have a large canvas coming. In the meantime, I'm just going to enjoy this. Hope you've had a good weekend. Hope your Christmas is going very well.